Some of you will be familiar, of course, with the character from Dad's Army, Captain Manring, who, whenever he was challenged over something that he'd got wrong, would always reply with the fact that, well, I was just checking to see if you were paying attention. I did it deliberately to see if you could spot my deliberate mistake. And of course, I myself have included a few deliberate mistakes in the past. Nothing of any great significance, but it's always good when people are paying attention so much that they can get back to me and say, by the way, as for example, Ashari Malak and Robert Darce, they have both been in touch to say that I've been saying Wiggly Piggly incorrectly, so it should be Piggly Wiggly or Wiggly Piggly. I can never remember which one it is, but yes, I've been deliberately getting it wrong for ages now, as you can tell. Another thing that Robert Darce pointed out was that, of course, when I deliberately said that the Averys live in northwestern Wisconsin, I, of course, was trying to project my geography skills as being somewhat similar to Eric Jose's. I know perfectly well, of course, that being close to Lake Michigan, that Manitowoc County is in northeastern Wisconsin. And so it was yesterday. I obviously did a little video suggesting to go to TikTok Manitowoc Reddit site, but the actual person who had done the post is actually called Temptedious. And so many congratulations to Fen of 80 More Things for spotting my deliberate mistake. And she was sent a special unique prize. I sent her a picture of Eric Jose in his kilt, which is quite stunning. Moving on to one or two of the other comments that I've had. Sorry, one more comment, that was it. Sela442 asked me recently, am I aware of the suggestion that Teresa Halbach could be living in Canada and is in fact somebody who is, believe it or not, on Facebook as Teresa Jean Crockett. They do look somewhat similar. I've had, Teresa aged 15 years. I do believe there's one or two problems with discrepancies. I seem to remember somebody somewhere mentioned that there was a difference in height. But of course, nothing has come of it so far. And of course, Kathleen Zellner was alerted to this other person, the Teresa in Canada. What I would say is that I remember on the flight over to Australia, all 23 hours of it. Yeah, although it took more than 23 hours because you had to stop at Dubai on the way. One of the interesting programs I watched was a BBC program about doubles, about how everybody has a double, completely unrelated person who is the exact same, exactly the same. Like when scientists have looked at the similarities, these people who are completely unrelated, and they have no connection whatsoever, and yet their sort of identical twinness, their being the same as one another, is even more than a lot of identical twins. Okay, so I know of people who have come to me and said, are you related to somebody else because you're the exact double of. So I'm not going to get too excited about the Teresa in Canada because that's been a theory, a suggestion that's been put about for well over 3 years now, probably a lot longer. Nearly 4 years now, in fact. But I'll just briefly say that hope you've all enjoyed that Temptedious post on Reddit and have a chance to read through it. Hopefully some of the other YouTubers, as I say, that have got the opportunity to put up the screenshots will take up that post and do something with it. Maybe even get in touch with Temptedious themselves and do as we've been doing with Magilla and present it all as a PowerPoint presentation. This morning I read an email from Northwestern Pritzker School. Obviously they're involved in Brendan's case. The article itself was interesting, but at the very bottom there was another article about the fact that obviously Donald Trump divides opinion. I saw that way back when he was first elected. I had some pupils who were abhorrent at the thought of Donald Trump being the president, and others were saying, thank God America has got a proper president. I know he divides opinions. The article was to do with the fact that he's appointed a lot of judges, which have flipped the balance of power supposedly from Democrat to Republic. Whether that's a good thing or not, some people in the article, even on the Democrat side, were saying, well, at least we've got judges that have got lots of experience, that are in effect better qualified. And surely that's what we all want. We want proper qualified judges. We want judges to make proper decisions, not the likes of your Hamiltons, Sykes, Easterbrooks and Kahns of this world. So anyway, as I say, it was an interesting article. I've got in touch with Tracy Keogh just in the last few hours, just to exchange one or two thoughts. Because I asked the question, if new judges come along, I remember the email I got sent by Steve Drizzen saying that, you know, in Brendan's case, that was just after SCOTUS refused to look at his case. He said that, you know, these things take time, but eventually dissenting opinions become majority decisions and things change. So I just wonder, have we heard the last about Brendan's case coming before a judge and looking into the falseness of the confession, the overbearing of his will? It would seem to be the case, from where I'm sitting, that once SCOTUS decided not to take the case, that was it, end of story. But who knows? We know that obviously there's this bid for clemency. We know that once Steve is exonerated, that would have repercussions in Brendan's case. And the other one, of course, in the documentary on Netflix that I watched yesterday, I finished it all yesterday. I think there was only about 5 episodes of it. The Who Shot or Who Killed Malcolm X. And of course, 2 people were convicted who are quite clearly were not involved in the attack, which was coming up for nearly 55 years ago. February the 21st, 1965 was when Malcolm X was murdered. So yeah, 55 years ago, very soon. And of course, I mentioned yesterday, I cheered at the point when the mention of the Conviction Integrity Unit was mentioned. Again, Tracy Keogh has done an article in the Brendan Dassey site. I'll leave the link to it, where she talks about Conviction Integrity Units. Apparently there aren't very many. I'm a bit confused as to whether it's up to the state to introduce a statewide Conviction Integrity Unit, or whether it's up to separate counties, or quite how that works. I must admit, I quite like the idea of a Conviction Integrity Unit being set up in Wisconsin to look at, in particular, Brendan's case, and to exonerate him by saying, look, this confession can't stand, this conviction cannot stand, and for the state to actually, in effect, put its hand up and say, we got it wrong, we're going to set it right. That, for me, would be particularly good. Problem is, how long would it take? If it's a case of the separate counties setting up conviction integrity units, then you can see it being a long time. But anyway, just a few thoughts. As usual, post your thoughts. Once again, thanks to everybody that comments. Somebody did ask me, have I heard yet anything back from Tess Saunders? Surprisingly, no. I haven't heard anything from Tess for a while. And I haven't heard anything back from YouTube. So I guess, Tess, you were just talking a load of BS. That's my opinion. And your stupid, silly, childish threats achieved absolutely nothing except making you look even worse. But anyway, I'm not here to go on about I say idiotic guilters like her. So anyway, as usual, send me your thoughts. And as I say, looking forward to the weekend and having a chat with McGilla and Eric Jose. Rule Griffin is going to let us know if he's able to make it, but he could be in transit, travelling back home or somewhere on the Sunday night. So he may or may not be able to join us. We'll wait and see. Anyway, that's all I've got time for today. Bye for now.